Hello, everyone. Welcome to the lecture of Law on Insurance. I am Barrister Mohammad Fariduddin, and in this week, I will be discussing about fire insurance. There are many forms of property insurances, and fire insurance is one of them. Fire policies are, in many respects, typical of the coverage of other property risks and raise issues which are relevant to other forms of property cover. But with reference to fire policies, I will mainly discuss about first the nature of the risk and second causation of loss. As the name suggests, in fire insurance, the nature of the risk arises from fire. The word fire is used in its ordinary popular meaning in a fire policy. It follows that there must be ignition of some kind, and in Harris versus Poland, it was decided that there is loss or damage by fire when there has been ignition of the insured property which was not intended to be ignited, or when insured property has been damaged otherwise than by ignition as a direct consequence of the ignition of other property not intended to be ignited. If there is actual unintended ignition of property and the property insured is damaged as a proximate consequence of that ignition, it is no defense for the insurer to prove that the fire was in a place where fires usually are. For example, in Harris versus Poland, the insured concealed valuables such as jewelry and banknotes in her grate as a precaution against theft, and inadvertently she lit a fire, forgetting what she had done previously. Justice Atkinson held that she could recover the insurance money, and he expressed the view that the ordinary insured would never suspect that if something is blown by the wind or accidentally dropped into the fire, he or she was not covered. Damage to the property caused by excessive heat will not as such be covered by an ordinary fire policy unless there is also unintended ignition of property. In Austin versus Drew, there was insurance against all damage which the insured should suffer by fire on stock and utensils in their regular built sugar house. The buildings consisted of 8 stories, and from a stove on the ground floor, a flue passed up through other floors for the purpose of heating them. At the top of the flue was a register which was closed at night in order to retain as much heat as possible. When the fire was lit in the morning, the insured's servant forgot to open the register, and the intense heat which resulted damaged the sugar which was being refined on the top floors. The building was filled with smoke and sparks, but the flames never got beyond the flue and nothing took fire. It was held that the damage to the sugar was not damage by fire. Chief Justice Gibbs said, there was no more fire than always exists when the manufacture is going on. Nothing was consumed by fire. The plaintiff's loss arose from the negligent mismanagement of their machinery. The sugar was chiefly damaged by the heat, and what produced that heat? Not any fire against which the company insures, but the fire for hitting the pans, which continued all the time to burn without any excess. Had the fire been brought out of the flue and anything had been burnt, the company would have been liable. This is not a fire within the warranty of the policy, nor a loss for which the company undertake. That means the insurance company. They might as well be sued for damage done to drawing room furniture by a smoky chimney. Other examples of damage caused by excessive heat, which would probably be beyond the protection of an ordinary fire policy, are damage done by the bursting of a boiler caused by excess of ordinary fire heat and absence of water in the boiler, or damage done by reason of a boiler's corrosion by contact with bilge water so as to become too thin to resist the pressure of steam. If property has been unintentionally ignited and property insured is damaged by smoke, the insurer will be liable to compensate the insurer for such damage, provided it is a proximate consequence of the fire. But no recovery can be had when the damage is done by smoke from an intended fire. In Harris versus Poland, Justice Atkinson thought that smoke was a source of damage from the fire along with heat, sparks, and flames themselves, but concluded that damage by smoke without any unintended ignition of the property could not of itself render an insurer liable under a fire policy. Damage by fire in an adjoining property. What is the legal consequence of that? The improper ignition, which is prima facie an essential element of fire within the meaning of a fire policy, need not, however, be an ignition of the property insured. If an adjoining property is unintentionally ignited and damage is caused to the insured property by falling walls, water, or otherwise, there is fire and damage by fire within the meaning of the policy, and the insured can claim the insured money. If lightning results in the ignition, any loss occasioned by such ignition is a loss by fire. But the damage caused by lightning without ignition is not damage by fire. But frequently, a fire policy will expressly include any loss by lightning.